Night and day form during Holy Week in Crevillent an inseparable and irrepeatable symbiosis. Sentiment and tradition join forces to make light of domes and tales be confused with some torches that illuminate the night. And night and day walk into the beat of a religious fervor that identifies each of the inhabitants of this population in Alicante. The Septenario de los Dolores has already marked the preamble to 7 days in which all the Crevillentinos leave the streets to express their roots and respect for tradition, in which voices and silences are mixed harmoniously in every street and every corner that, again, look past litter and hoods, feet and drums, shadows and devotion. The palms are the white banner that accompanies the triumphant Jesus on Palm Sunday. The generations are confused in this sea of palms, smooth but braided, composing a harmonic whole family. The entry of Jesus into Jerusalem is the last group of sculptures carved by Mariano Vignure, much linked to Crevillent in the last period of his life. This link was evident across the religious imagery and exclusive museum with some of their masterpieces. The float was finally ended the night of November the 8th, 1947, a night in which he could hardly conclude due to his trembling pulse. Mariano Vignure died before dawn the next day and left for Crevillentinos his posthumous work. The universal artist, with a pierced, deep sense, conducted for Crevillent 8 floats of a great realism. On Tuesday is the procession of penance, with the image of Santísimo Cristo de Difuntos y Ánimas, Holy Christ of Dead and Souls, another work by Mariano Vignure. Eight costaleros begin the journey from the temple of Nuestra Señora de Belén, entering in the winding streets of the old town, which that night was transformed into a medieval scene, lit only by torches. The composition is a work of Venantius Fortunato, and dates from the 16th century. The sacred motets are sung by a chorus of male voices that also interpret Verum Templi, composed by its conductor, José Alberto Arnal. The Cistercian habits of penitence and the whole image carried by the shoulders without throne, making it the most austere of all nights in the week. The poignant silence is only broken by the call of the drum and the singing of Santa Cruz. On Wednesday is the first large processional parade of Holy Week. The entire population unites their efforts so that each float is in perfect condition before going into the street. All details are taken into account with great care. Figures and thrones are still in the houses and must be arranged to be ready for the procession. The arrangement ritual possesses for a father year most Crevillent in households. This day has a very special meaning. It is the one of the preparations, the exchange of points of view among the costaleros, the moment to get forces and energy enough for the coming penitence, and the expectation created by every float when it is moved to the temple of Nuestra Señora de Belén. Tradition once again imposes pleasantly its rules. 16 floats representing the Passion of Christ, leaving the homes where they have been held throughout the year and are concentrated in the temple. They all will leave from here in procession. The procession of the Passion of Christ began his long pilgrimage at 10 p.m. through the streets of the northern part of the town. In the head, a band of clarins and La Convocatoria, followed by 15 floats representing the most relevant elements of the Passion. The great sculpture masters are represented in each float of this multitudinous procession: Parera, Cuesta, Crevillent, Pérez Figueroa, Mariano Benlliure. Each brotherhood brings the peculiarity of his clothes, his silence and respect, his measured step at each drum hit. Crevillent lives with emotion the Passion of Christ, which endorsed in each sequence. Black and white, greens, golds, weight, trumpets, sweet, drums, pain, colors, sounds, and feelings mingle in a festive and penitential symphony. The whole town participates in 1,000 ways. As costaleros, foremen, musicians, singers, cofrades, or as the accompanying crowd following with devotion each float. soles of sandals worn by the costaleros wear out as they penetrate into the streets of Old Town. The yandas, thrones, already part of the anatomy of the penitent shoulders, and despite the pain caused by the float's weight, everyone will respond to a promise that year after year revive in each of them. The capirotes rule at night, and candles cry their wax tears, as if they wanted to unite the fervor with their carriers. The brotherhood is more evident than ever in the minds of an entire people living Holy Week with rigor and respect in every act, every step, every silence. Initiated at dawn, the Virgen de los Dolores arouses every year great expectation in her departure from the temple. She is accompanied by large popular corps, performing sacred marches as Stabat Mater, Ovos Omnes, and Glorans Plorabili. As the other floats end their turn, other singers come adding their voices to the Dolorosas chant, until one soul and multitudinous voice sing in the early hours of the morning Crevillent. Around 2:30 in the morning is the relocation of Cristo de la Victoria, with Mary Magdalene and his feet on the Tres Marias y San Juan, which, despite the late hours of night, are accompanied by many faithful penitents with candles and a male voices chorus. The impressive group of Tres Marias y San Juan is considered one of the best representations of the type in Spain. Again, the Benures footprint on the streets of Crevillent, along with the fervor of the people and the costaleros quiet and dedicated to their traditions. Holy Thursday is a day of celebration inside the church, making only the Via Crucis, the penitential Santísimo Cristo del Perdón y la Buena Muerte, forgiveness and beauty of Christ. Before the emergence of Adon, Crevillentinos are called back to the streets to celebrate a more intense day throughout the Holy Week. Holy Friday begins with the Dianas, cornets, drums, and string instruments to awake and meet them to go to the Calvary. In the first light, the whole village began its journey that has, in the Morquera, a highly awaited encounter. The embrace held in La Morquera, approximately in the middle of the itinerary, revives the encounter between Jesus Nazareno and La Dolorosa, before Jesus initiates the ascent to Calvary. Both work of art are figures by Mariano Benure. In this ceremony are also involved of San Juan and La Veronica floats. The latter clean sweat and blood of Christ's face, which is then printed on the land. This produces the embrace between mother and son, which makes him moving an articulated arm to bless the Crevillentinos spreading the area to the point of hindering the movement of floats. Nobody wants to miss this highlight of the celebrations of the whole week. The 16 floats on Wednesday come again into the streets to join the procession of the way to and from the Calvary. Both cofrades and visitors share a traditional lunch at the time, whose essential ingredients are roasted garlics and curd, and the so-called pato rat, toasted bread with oil, together with all products of the garden, thus fulfilling the tradition of abstinence from eating meat. It is a stop along the way in which it is necessary to replenish forces to start with the descent of Calvary. Around 11 o'clock began the procession of the descent of Calvary, involving 16 floats. Steep streets of the town are added to the already hard task of the costaleros. La Dolorosa by Mariano Beniure closes this procession accompanied by singers. They emphasize the colors of clothing and the calls of several marching bands and drums and cornets. Again, silence and recollection embrace the streets of Crevillent to make way for the procession of the death of Christ. The voices of the chorus are again natural instruments that break the silence of the night of Holy Friday.